Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 14. The next day, Zhongyuan left the side courtyard with Yushi. In the carriage, Yushi drew back the curtains to look outside. Then, he glanced back at Zhongyuan. Uncertainty filled his eyes. Zhongyuan stared at Yushi with suspicions. What? Are you feeling regretful? Don't you want to discourage this engagement anymore? Yushi shook his head. I don't have regrets about this. Yushi gazed at Zhongyuan. He looked like he didn't know how to phrase what he wanted to say but spoke anyways, but I suddenly regret bringing you out with me. This was clearly a situation that could be resolved by simply saying something to the princess. Why was he going about it in such a roundabout way and getting this person to act out a scene? Zhongyuan held back his laughter. I told you, I definitely won't make you lose face. It will just cost you some money, but you don't care about that, so what are you scared of? I'm not scared of losing face. I just think, Yushi hesitated. He bargained with Zhongyuan, do I really have to say that? Zhongyuan nodded. Of course. Don't tell me you can't even remember one line? It's just one phrase. I'll give you a look and you'll say it. Can you remember that? Yushi ground his teeth together and nodded. The horse carriage stopped outside of Qi Zhenxian's store. The two of them got out. What a rare customer. If this humble one had known that His Highness would be coming, this one would have opened up our storage in advance and readied a few precious items to send directly to the Prince Yu's estate. How dare this humble one make His Young Highness come to the store? This, ha ha ha, this is too rushed. Simply outrageous, outrageous. The shop owner hurriedly rushed downstairs to bow to Yushi. He personally greeted the two of them and said, Your Highness, is there something you want to look at? Yushi turned to Zhongyuan and said, I don't want to look at anything. He does. The owner immediately addressed Zhongyuan. But Zhongyuan didn't speak. He glanced left and right, slowly trying to drag the time out. After half an hour, the young master of Duke Wenguo's estate arrived. That was who they were waiting for. The young master of Duke Wenguo estate had ordered some decorations from here a few days ago and was picking them up today. He hadn't expected for Yushi to be here, too. He didn't dare to pick up his order anymore and hurriedly rushed forward to greet the other. Zhongyuan pretended not to see anything. He didn't bow or speak, continuing to look around. The shop owner of Qi Zhenxian was still ingratiatingly telling him, look at this tea set. Though it's not from a famous kiln, take a detailed look at this glaze. Isn't it smooth? Now look at this coloration. What a pure plum green. This. Destroy it. Zhongyuan put the small teacup in his hand back onto the shelf and wiped his hands with a silk handkerchief. He lightly said, I don't like green. Yushi. Young master of Duke Wenguo estate. The shop owner thought that he had heard wrong. He laughed dryly, young master, what did the young master just said? Zhongyuan impatiently replied, I said, I don't like green. I can't stand the color. The shop owner practically couldn't find his own tongue as he stuttered, Danti like, huh. Zhongyuan looked intently at the owner and said, I don't like the color green. I don't look seeing anything green. Do you understand? The young master of Wenguo estate looked at Yushi, who only kept quiet. Zhongyuan glanced at the treasures on the display rack in front of him and said, I want everything green in this to be smashed. The shop owner was scared to death. He half kneeled and looked to Yushi in a silent plea for help. Yushi nodded. Do as he wishes. The servants they had brought with them from the Prince Yu's estate stepped forward and very quickly picked out all the green articles from the shelf. They wrapped them inside a cloth and started smashing them. The young master from Duke Wenguo estate listened to the sounds of ceramic breaking and broke into a cold sweat. Zhongyuan turned his head and looked at a carved wooden tiger on a different shelf. He narrowed his eyes and looked at the shop owner in disbelief. He questioned, I don't like tigers. Didn't you know? The shop owner's voice was shaking. This. I really didn't know. Well, you do now. Zhongyuan waved his hand. Burn it? The shop owner stared with wide eyes as Yushi's servants removed the tiger from the shelf and took it away. The young master from Duke Wenguo estate couldn't help panicking in his heart as he stood beside Yushi. His little sister's zodiac animal was a tiger. It was fine if the young Prince Yu had a boy toy, but to indulge him to this extent, that was a big problem. The young master from Duke Wenguo estate turned his head to look at Yushi, only to see the corner of young Prince Yu's lips twitch as if he were about to break into a smile. Though his expression was a bit strange, it didn't look like he intended to stop the other at all. Then in the future, after his little sister got married to Yushi, if this young master Zhong said he didn't like her, would his little sister also get burned? Zhongyuan destroyed everything related to tigers in the shop and nodded. Now it's slightly easier on the eyes. Remember this. This young master was born in the year of the horse. Zhongyuan's tone was calm. In the future, everything in this shop that's related to horses must put on a red cape. Understand? The shop owner trembled. He couldn't help twisting to look at Yushi. Now, this is his cue. Zhongyuan gave Yushi a look, signaling for him to say the last line. Zhongyuan was scared that Yushi would forget his lines, so he arranged a very simple one for him. It was simply, "Are you done yet?" Then, Zhongyuan would throw a tantrum and make a fuss. The two of them would act out a flirtatious couple in love and discuss the young master from Duke Wenguo estate until he went away. Everything would be considered complete after this. Yushi's lips moved. The shop owner felt a slight anticipation. He hurriedly and eagerly stared at Yushi. Yushi put his teacup down and said, as he said, "Put red capes over all of them." Zhongyuan immediately started coughing vigorously. The young master of the Duke Wenguo estate had completely lost it. He didn't even dare to pick up his ornaments before running away in fear. Half an hour later, all 40-something horse decorations of different sizes and materials in Qi Jingxuan's shop had bright red capes tied around their necks. They looked quite impressive and eye-catching. Zhongyuan couldn't bear to see this. He made the excuse of being tired and left the shop. After getting into the horse carriage, Zhongyuan felt a headache coming on. He cried out, "What's wrong with you?" Yushi rubbed his lips together and said, "I forgot." "You can't even remember one sentence." Zhongyuan had a breakdown. "I don't care how, but in a few days' time, no matter what excuse you come up with, you need to make the shop remove all those red capes. They're already unlucky enough as it is." Yushi said, "I will compensate them for the items that had been destroyed." He was lucky to be able to sell so many things all at once. This can't be considered unlucky. Meeting a crazy person isn't considered unlucky. Zhongyuan remembered the words he had just spoken and felt an itch coming on. He gasped and said, "I really lost all my ancestors' faces." But thinking of the expression of the young master from the Duke Wenguo estate just now, Zhongyuan couldn't help but laugh and said, "He's definitely going to want to break off the engagement after going home. When the time comes around, all you need to do is go with the flow and agree. At most, Princess will blame me. She won't say anything else." Yushi nodded. The two of them then headed to Prince Ning's estate. This was what Yushi had promised Zhongyuan last night. Yushi didn't accompany Zhongyuan. He stayed in the horse carriage to wait. An hour later, Zhongyuan exited Prince Ning's estate. He was in a daze and looked like he didn't have much energy. Yushi felt that he should comfort him a bit at this time but didn't know what to say. Yushi pondered a bit and didn't bring up Prince Ning or those young children. Instead, he asked, "I heard that you were raised by Princess Consort Ning." Zhongyuan paused for a second, then nodded with a smile. "Yes. When I arrived at the Prince Ning's estate, I was only 3 years old. Originally, I was being taken care of by a nanny who had come with me from the Zhong estate, but my nanny was old, so she had bad eyesight. She couldn't really tell colors apart anymore, so made me lots of pink, purple, and red clothes. In the first few years Princess Consort joined the estate, she didn't have any children. At the time, Prince Ning took me in as his adopted son. Nanny was scared that I would annoy the Princess Consort, so she kept me in my room all day. But back then I was too playful and disobedient, so I would often sneak out to play. Poor Nanny was already half blind but still had to make her way out every day to try and find me. And she didn't dare to yell loudly for fear of disturbing the Princess Consort. She could only lower her voice and call me by my childhood nickname. One day, I think I ran into the inner courtyard. This caused Nanny great panic. She mustered up the courage and entered the inner courtyard, trembling uncontrollably. When she finally found me after much difficulty, we coincidentally ran into the Princess Consort. Yushi furrowed his brows. And then, the Princess Consort noticed that I had mud all over my face and was wearing garments for girls, so didn't even realize who I was. She thought I was a young female servant. After figuring everything out, she told Nanny to bring me back. A day passed, then Princess Consort told us to move into the inner courtyard. The Princess Consort said that if she didn't have any children and took in one to raise, she would eventually have one. We didn't know if it was true or not, but Nanny and I started living in the Princess Consort's courtyard after that. Princess Consort was generous when interacting with people, so was very kind to me. She personally taught and raised me until I was 10, then she sent me to stay in my own little courtyard. Nanny was too old and Princess Consort said she couldn't take care of me anymore. She kept Nanny in her courtyard and provided for her. Yushi listened quietly. After, he said, I saw Princess Consort Ning a few times in the past. She was a kind person. Yushi lifted his gaze to look at Zhongwan. He thought to himself, if not for your elders' tender care and indulgence, it would be impossible to raise someone with your temperament. Yet, there was surprisingly no grief on Zhongwan's face. She was such a good person but unfortunately wasn't in good health. When she was giving birth to the two of them, Zhongwan didn't continue speaking. Yushi knew, even though he didn't say. Princess Consort Ning had passed away due to birthing complications when having the twins. Yushi didn't want Zhongwan to feel sad, so he switched topics. You just said that your nanny called you by your childhood nickname while looking for you in the estate. Zhongwan lifted his head and made a noise of acknowledgement. He didn't know why Yushi suddenly was paying attention to these things. He dryly said, yeah, yes. Yushi paused for a moment, then asked, what's your childhood nickname? Zhongwan looked at Yushi in alarm. Why are you asking me that? Yushi also didn't know why he was suddenly curious. He awkwardly replied, I'm just asking. My childhood nickname, only my father, mother, nanny, and the Princess Consort have called me by it. Even Prince Ning didn't use it. Zhongwan stared at Yushi, still somewhat suspicious. If you know it and call me by it, wouldn't that make you my elder? Why do you have such evil intentions? Young Yushi really wanted to tell Zhongwan that elders weren't the only ones who could use childhood nicknames. But if he said this, the situation would probably be even weirder. Yushi's expression became more and more unnatural. In the end, he simply decided not to speak. Zhongwan very annoyingly asked to test the waters, then you tell me what your childhood nickname is first. Yushi shook his head. I don't have one. Zhongwan didn't believe this. How could it be possible that you don't have one? Then when you were very tiny, what did the princess and the others call you? Yushi replied, just by my name. Zhongwan didn't believe this at all. He thought that Yushi was purposefully avoiding telling him. Then I don't have a childhood nickname either. I was lying just now. Young Yushi took things to heart too easily. He said, but earlier, you said you did. Later on, I asked him several more times, but he didn't say it. She gazed at the little ceramic horse with a red cape tied around its neck that was in his room. He muttered, why didn't he tell me even though I asked? Steward Feng burst into laughter. Back then, young Master Zhong could have been considered practically an adult. Of course, he wouldn't want to listen to anyone calling him by his childhood nickname. That would be embarrassing. But I just want to know. She gently tapped the porcelain horse's head. I want to see him cry, I want to call him by his childhood nickname. I want to make him cry while calling him by his childhood nickname. Steward Feng shook. He thought to himself, this year, Zhongwan is already 20-something, but you still want to call him by his childhood nickname. What kind of strange interest is that? Last time I couldn't get him to cry. It was a bit difficult. Yushi placed the spring book in his hand over to the side and spoke to himself, then I'll just ask for his childhood nickname first. That dog that can't bark. Recently, has he done anything significant? Steward Feng shook his head. I haven't heard anything. Find a way to make him cause a commotion. Yushi cocked an eyebrow and smiled. He said with much menace, use the mute to force him. Force him to tell me what his childhood nickname is. From now on, I'm going to call him using his childhood nickname. Steward Feng could only agree, yes, Your Highness. End chapter. Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 15. Once Zhongwan had made up his mind, he had to talk with Xian Rui and the others. Not wanting to worry them for no reason, he didn't treat the matter as something serious. His tone proved relaxed as he said at the dining table, after His Majesty's birthday, I want to remain in the capital for a while. Zhongwan had spoken in such a light manner, yet panic had struck the children. His expression remained natural. I have a couple of old friends in the capital. At present, it's inconvenient to meet with them. Once you have all left for Qianan, I want to be able to avoid others and take care of them. The people apart from Zhongwan shared a helpless look. What other old friend did he have? The first to react was Xian Kengzin. She wiped the corners of her mouth with her handkerchief and said slowly, after His Majesty sees us this time, he will probably not think of us again. There aren't any important matters going on at Qianan. If you have matters to attend to at the capital, then just stay. Xian Yu glanced at Xian Kengzin. Then his gaze fell upon Zhongwan. In an instant, his eyes reddened. He blurted out, why do you have to stay here? I don't want to be separated from you. It's so cold here. Will you be able to handle it? Why don't we just leave together? Just what do you have to take care of? How about if elder brother and sister leave first? I'll stay with you. Once you've finished what you need to do, we can go home together. Zhongwan naturally has his own affairs to attend to. Xian Kengzin looked down on her younger brothers crying at the drop of a hat appearance. Furrowing her brows, she said, what's there to cry over? Stop crying. Stuff your tears back in. Since he was young, Xian Yu had been afraid of his twin sister who have a strong personality. After she had reprimanded him, he ceased his sobs, desperately holding back his tears. Then Zhongwan, when will you return? He asked in a pitiful manner. Can I wait for you? I. Trying to desperately grasp for straws, Xian Yu said without thinking, you still need to tutor me. Anyone can tutor you. Xian Kengzin frowned. Are we unable to hire a teacher for you? How dare you to keep crying? Xian Yu immediately stopped his tears from flowing, frightened to the point that he didn't even dare to utter a word. With a sigh escaping his lips, Zhongwan found it such a pity. If Xian Kengzin were born male, after 2 years he could split from the main household and establish his own branch. And then Zhongwan would truly be at ease. Zhongwan shifted his gaze to Xian Rui. Deeply concerned at heart, Xian Rui immersed himself in his meal. A while later, he took his time to say, "Just leave with us. If you stay here, just as you're worried about us, we're also worried about you." Once again, Xian Kengzin drew her brows together. "Elder brother, why have you also?" Xian Rui raised his head from his bowl and stared straight at Xian Kengzin. Voice low and thick with anger, he said, "Could we just stay at the capital like that? You two have grown up in Qianan without any worries, so how could you know our household's past crime? Those days when fear always followed us like a shadow? I don't want to stay here for even one day." "Don't worry." Zhongyuan patted Xian Rui's hand to soothe him. "I won't do anything, just. Why don't the two of you think a bit for his sake?" Xian Kengzin just couldn't hold back any longer. Zhongyuan is already 24 years old this year. Among normal families, he should already be. As a girl, no matter how strong she was, there were things Xian Kengzin couldn't say aloud. Her face flushed red and after a pause, she said, "After His Majesty's birthday, our prince estate should be in the clear. After taking care of us for so many years, he's bound to think of his personal affairs, right?" Shocked, Xian Yu asked, "What, personal affairs?" Xian Kengzin's cheeks remained scarlet. "Currently, His Majesty has already revoked Zhongyuan's status as a slave." Her voice was just above a whisper. "It's about time for him to settle his marriage. What noble ladies are in Qianan? After he returns, he won't be able to find anyone suitable. He wants to settle his marriage in the capital, so why do you all?" Xian Kengzin didn't finish speaking her thoughts. She lowered her head and took a sip of soup. Voice nearly inaudible, she said, "After his marriage is settled, he will naturally return with his wife. So why are you all in a rush?" Turning to look at Zhongyuan, Xian Rui said cheerfully, "So that's what it is. You're trying to find us a young sister-in-law." Xian Yu also looked at him, speechless. Then he collected his wits. "So that's what you wanted to do?" Finding it hard to express what he wanted to convey, Zhongyuan looked at the three children and forced a smile. "How do you want me to put this?" Although curiosity enveloped Xian Kengzin, due to her status as a girl, she could not say much. She could only faintly mention in a roundabout manner, "Anyway, which family do you have your eye on?" "Is our young sister-in-law pretty?" asked Xian Yu, excited. Zhongyuan could only make the best out of a bad situation, awkwardly saying, "They're pretty." Xian Kengzin couldn't help but ask, "How old are they?" Zhongyuan answered pensively, 23. The three Xian siblings looked at each other. For a while, a falling needle would be heard with how silent the hall became. The twins were embarrassed to say it, so Xian Rui had to ask the question tentatively, "Aren't they a bit too old? Don't you feel wronged?" Zhongyuan felt wronged but could not utter a word about it. He tried his best to smile. "It's not like that. I don't think they're that old." "But she's also not young," muttered Xian Kengzin. "You. Why did you choose someone so old already?" A hollow laugh spilled from his lips. "I'm also not young anymore, and they have a youthful appearance." Feeling astonished, Xian Rui blurted, "You've met her already?" Zhongyuan regretted saying anything. He grunted in acknowledgement. The urge to bite himself to death was strong. Why on earth did he weave such lies? Whatever he said couldn't fool them. A light flashed in Xian Yu's eyes. "Then tell us how tall she is." Gloomy and regretful, Zhongyuan said without thinking, "A bit taller than me." "Huh?" Xian Yu cut an extremely startled figure. "Taller than you?" The expressions of Xian Rui and Xian Kengzin also abruptly changed. What kind of girl did Zhongyuan find? "Ah, no, actually," Zhongyuan clenched his fists, knuckles glowing white. "They're about the same height as me. I don't find these things important." As long as you're happy. Xian Kangxin stared at Zhongwan with a complicated look on her face. She couldn't help but ask, then, how is her temperament? At such an old age and tall stature, this person must be outstanding if she could capture Zhongwan's heart. Or perhaps she had a good temper, gentle and considerate. Temperament. Zhongwan's emotions grew unstable and moody, bubbling with the urge to kill at any time as if he was about to go crazy at any minute. If he actually answered them truthfully, he feared that Xian Rui, Xian Yu, and Xian Kangxin would rather die than let him remain in the capital. Just what kind of monster did Zhongwan fall for? Zhongwan forced himself to keep his composure. They have a really good temperament. The three children shared a look. They thought it was fine as long as Zhongwan was happy. After finishing their meals, the four people each had their own thoughts. Then they made for their respective chambers. Zhongwan let escape a sigh of relief. He chuckled twice, stepping foot within his own courtyard. As soon as he had entered his room, Yan Pingshan, the steward, followed him in. What is it? Zhongwan sat by a fire pan. With a pair of metal tongs, he grabbed a lump of coal from his handheld brazier and placed it in the fire pan by his feet. He pushed and poked at the coal within, blowing lightly at them. Shortly after, the fire pan heated up. Yan Pingshan shut the windows and door. Then he whispered, according to our people, one would fear that third prince won't make it. Zhongwan drew his brows together. Ever since the third prince had been born, he was sickly and frail. To drag on for 30-something years was already difficult. But why was it only now that he had encountered a problem? Yan Pingshan was very anxious. At most, he could survive for a few more months. It could occur after His Majesty's birthday. Otherwise, if the funeral arrangements occur before it, then we won't be able to leave. You're right, then Zhongwan asked, what did the imperial physician say? The imperial physician said that if he is able to survive until the spring, then he would be able to recover. Zhongwan sighed. So, this means he won't be able to live past the spring. That's either right at the beginning or end of the emperor's birthday. Yan Pingshan couldn't help but complain softly, he just can't choose a right time. It's certain that the emperor knows. In this way, would the festivities and banquet of His Majesty's birthday still be held? Of course. Yan Pingshan laughed in contempt. He spoke even softer. Right now, the third prince can't even swallow a mouthful of congee without struggling. Yet the emperor doesn't seem broken-hearted at the slightest. What ought to be done would be done. Just in these past few days, he invited all the imperial clan members to entertain them for dinner, eating until they were full and sleeping to his heart content. No one is enjoying life as much as he is. Worry enveloped Zhongwan. If it's like this, then that meant the people of Prince Jianan's estate would be stuck in the capital for another few months. Meanwhile at the Prince Yu's estate, these past few days, Yu Shi's mood had been terrible. Originally, he had wanted to pick out mistakes in Lin Si and capture the latter again, imprisoning him in Dali Temple for 2 days. But a few days later, Lin Si seemed to have vanished out of thin air. Lin Si had hidden in the fourth prince's estate for a number of days without ever showing himself. Yu Shi did not know that Lin Si had been ordered by Zhongwan to not make any movements. He only thought that the mute was his natural enemy. When he wasn't searching for him, he would appear before him. When he was searching for him, he would be nowhere in sight. Impatiently, Yu Shi said, if I can't find his shortcomings, then I can't capture him. Fine, there's no need to find an excuse. I'll just seize him directly. Steward Feng said in a mocking manner, if we capture him without a reason, one would fear it would offend the fourth prince. Am I afraid of offending him? Steward Feng paused and thought, that's right. Your honored self even dares to offend the emperor, so what could you be afraid of? Like this, when Lin Si just wanted to leave the estate and take a breath of fresh air, the people of Prince Yu's estate threw a sack on his head and took him away. Yushi sat in the seat of honor, looking down at Linsi from above. 7 years ago, after Zhonwan had left, Yushi did not have a relationship with Linsi at the beginning. Yushi did not particularly care about Linsi, nor did he make trouble for him. They coexisted in harmony. Until Linsi recklessly investigated Yushi's background. At that time, Yushi truly wanted to kill him. Even after Xianjing caused havoc at Dali Temple, Yushi still did not change his mind. Since Xianjing dared to investigate his background, if he did not teach the former a lesson, then it would be the same as waiting for his own death. If it weren't for, Yushi glanced at Linsi. And he did not finish what he was saying. Instead, he ordered with an indifferent tone, "Bring them over." The servant lifted countless torture instruments, placing them before Linsi's eyes. "You should be clear about what I'm intending to do," said Yushi slowly. "Don't tell me I can't rush to indiscriminately punish you by myself. This rule does not exist here. I will ask you one thing. You can refuse to answer. But then I will use each of these torture instruments on you one after the other." Yushi was well versed in the way of interrogation by torture, not at all in a rush to act. Rather, he summoned an old bailiff of the yamen who was adept at employing punishment. And he let this person place each of the tens of torture instruments in front of Linsi, preparing them in advance as an initial display of strength. Dali Temple's torture equipment were of much better quality than those of the Ministry of Justice. 1 hour later, the old bailiff finished placing the equipment. Yushi leisurely sipped his tea. "Don't worry. I have a lot of time." Linsi looked at the torture instruments, then raised his head to look at Yushi. Yushi finally paid attention to Linsi. "What is Zhonwan's childhood nickname?" Silence. Tone serene, Yushi continued, "Don't tell me you don't know. You two grew up together, so I won't believe it." He set the teacup down. Shifting his gaze to one of the torture instruments, he said, "You don't want to talk. That's fine. I'll speak first. Do you want to know how this is used? I'm pretty free today, so I can take my time explaining it to you." Linsi trembled faintly. Yushi narrowed his eyes. Using much effort, Linsi raised a hand, pressing it to the ground. Yushi stared at him, his gaze full of distrust. 2 servants pressed Linsi down on the ground. It was quite inconvenient to move. Yet he lifted his hand, expending much effort to tap his fingers on a puddle of hot pepper water. And on the limestone slab before him, wrote out 2 characters. It was Zhonwan's childhood nickname. Afterwards, he kowtowed. Not a word escaped Yushi's lips. A while later, he said, "Does your master Zhonwan know that you're this loyal?" Shame colored Linsi's face. He lowered his head and did not respond. Yushi glanced at the torture instruments in the room, finding it complicated to express his thoughts. What was the point of using up an hour to set out so many pieces of old torture equipment? Very good. You know when to bend and stretch. After a long time, Yushi said, "You can leave." Once again, Linsi kowtowed. And he left. End chapter. Those years in quest of honor mine. Chapter 16. Yushi stood up and walked over to where Linsi had been kneeling. He looked down at the water stains that hadn't dried yet. He stared at it for a long time. Previously, to get this childhood name, Yushi had spent a lot of effort. Back then, he hadn't known how to threaten people. He only knew how to bribe them. However, Zhonwan was someone who yielded to force instead of softer approaches. No matter how many times he asked, Zhonwan would find a way out of not giving this information. For a long time, Yushi had believed that he would never get to know the other's childhood name, at least not in this lifetime. He had never expected that the mute, Linsi, would have so little backbone. Do you think if he, Yushi seemed to be muttering to himself, knows that Zhongwan once swore that he would rather die than tell me this. Steward Feng laughed dryly. Probably not. Lin Si obviously didn't know. After leaving the Prince Yu's estate, Lin Si had originally been planning on visiting Zhongwan. But after a brief thought, he felt that there was actually no need. Though Yushi had caused such a large commotion, he had only asked about a childhood name. Besides, Zhongwan himself had said, "Don't come find me unless the situation is extremely important." How could this be considered important? Yushi wasn't reasonable at all. He hadn't bothered making things clear at the beginning. Instead, he had directly pressed him into the ground. He couldn't even make any hand signs. Yushi had been taking advantage of the fact that he was mute. If he could have spoken, he would have been let go 2 hours ago. Lin Si didn't feel remorseful at all. Should he have gone through a round of torture over Zhongwan's childhood name? Wouldn't that make him crazy? Lin Si rubbed his sore shoulders and continued on his stroll. In the side courtyard of Prince Yu's estate, Yushi continued muttering those 2 words under his breath. A long time later, he suddenly asked, "Speaking of, Xianjin is going to die. Xianjin is Emperor Chang'an's 3rd son." Steward Feng kept his head down as he said, "Yes, Your Highness." This old servant heard that he was barely hanging on. In the next 2 or 3 months, who knows if he'll. Steward Feng lowered his voice. The Ministry of Rites has already started the preparations. Yushi's expression was cold. He didn't appear sorrowful at all. The royal princess entered the palace a few days ago to visit. Apparently Consort Xian has cried so much that her eyes have almost become blind. Consort Xian has had a tough life. After raising a child for 30-something years, the white-haired person is sending off the black-haired person. The 3rd prince hasn't even left behind any offspring. Consort Xian said that if the 3rd prince passes away, she refuses to keep living, too. Steward Feng sighed. The royal princess spent a long time trying to talk her out of it. But it appears that she wasn't successful. Not bad. Yushi's expression was normal. Hasn't she kept him around for 30-something years already? Among the emperor's sons, he has been fated to have the longest life. Hey! Steward Feng furrowed his brows. What are you saying, Yushizi? I'm just stating the truth. Yushi sat on his low couch again, leaning against the pillow and staring out the window. A long time later, he said, "Compared to the others, the oldest is only 23, isn't that less than him?" As Steward Feng listened to him, he couldn't help but interrupt, "The other 3 princes were weak from when they were born, others were not so." Yes, since the first 3 were lost to sickness, perhaps the next one would be due to violence. Yushi spoke to his steward nonchalantly as if this were a simple pleasant chat. "Hey, do you think the next on would be declared?" Yushizi. Steward Feng was truly agitated. "You should speak prudently when talking about these things." Yushi started laughing quietly. Steward Feng glared at Yushi harshly, then poured a hot cup of tea for the other. Yushi grabbed the teacup and slowly said, "I heard about that woman. Before she died, she kept cursing and shrieking. It lasted a whole day and night." Steward Feng wished that he could shut Yushi up. "Drink some tea first." Yushi lowered his head to take a sip. He drawled out, "On the day the gates to hell were to open, she screamed like that for an entire day and night. It must have been quite terrifying. Say, do you think they were scared?" Steward Feng took 2 quick breaths but he didn't respond. Yushi purposefully asked him, "Do you know what curse did she cast?" Steward Feng looked at Yushi pleadingly, Don't say any more." Yushi smiled and nodded. "All right. You don't want to hear any more, so I won't say any more." Yushi slowly erased the amusement from his face. He then stated, "Go rest. I'm tired and want to take a brief nap." Steward Feng agreed somewhat disbelievingly. Before he left, he lit a calming incense for Yushi. Yushi closed his eyes. Soon after, he really did fell asleep. In his dreams, Yushi saw that woman again for the countless time. The woman was dressed in red. She sat on the bed, cradling an infant in her right arm while her left arm was latched onto the bed curtains. She cried and screamed with all her might. Your words were sweet but hid knives. You've committed all the sins in the world. You've tricked me into becoming this way. I curse you to be alone your whole life. I curse you to lose all your relatives while still alive, to not have anyone to pay respects to you in death, to die without offspring. You will never be able to keep a single son. The infant in the woman's embrace sobbed in fear. The woman lowered her head to glance at the child in her arms. Her hands trembled. She both laughed and cried, acting terrifyingly out of control. Ha ha, and there's you, you young evil bastard. The woman suddenly lifted the child above her head with blood-red eyes, then harshly threw it onto the ground. Yushi seemed to be able to feel that heart-piercing pain in his dream. His eyebrows tightly furrowed together, cold sweat dripped from his forehead. The infant fell on the ground. In that moment, it stopped making any noise, as if it had stopped breathing. The woman became temporarily dazed before lunging at the ground wildly. She snatched the infant up and closely examined it. In her mouth, she kept repeating, "To die without offspring, to die without offspring." Yushi's long fingers dug into the soft cushion. His fingertips were white. A long time later, he finally managed to escape from his nightmare. Yushi was faint and covered in cold sweat. His breaths were rugged. He looked outside the window, feeling dazed. Half an hour later, it seemed that he finally realized that everything that had just happened was only a dream. Yushi harshly pinched the spot in between his brows and closed his eyes once more. Perhaps due to the calming incense, he fell asleep again only moments later. The nightmare from before actually continued. In his dream, the woman who was clad in red gently cradled the infant in her arms, as if she were holding onto a precious treasure. She gently rocked it, tears streaming down her face. "Child, mother's good child, don't die, don't die." That infant was fortunate, as it was somehow still alive. It choked, then started bawling again. The woman was first overjoyed, but horror quickly replaced this as she stared at the infant in her arms. Her cracked nails and fingertips gently trembled and slowly sank into the infant's thin neck. Rushed footsteps sounded from outside the room. The woman went crazy, instantly digging her fingers in deeper. K. Yushi suddenly sat up. Like a person on the verge of drowning, he coughed for a long time. Yushi stood up and drank half a cup of cold tea before his expression slightly improved. "Het." Yushi laughed coldly. He wasn't going to sleep anymore. With this spare time, he would much rather consider how to trick Zhonwan into coming over so he could use his childhood name to tease him. In Prince Jian'an's estate, a completely clueless Zhonwan pitifully had to deal with the trio of Xian Rui, Xian Yu, and Xian Kengzin while reading. These three siblings had most likely had a discussion about something. Now that they were all gathered here, it appeared that they wanted to set the record completely straight. Xian Kengzin believed that since she was the only female of Prince Jian'an's estate, it was her duty to be responsible for family matters. Thus, she didn't feel awkward asking about issues of marriage at all. She continuously asked many questions. Does her family have a clean reputation? Zhonwan nodded, blindly answering, "It's clean, very pristine." Xian Kengzin inquired in a roundabout manner, "Is her family of high status?" Zhonwan muttered, "Well, they're not of low status." Xian Kengzin paused for a moment, then carefully stated, "They won't make you marry into their family, right?" Zhonwan choked and waved his hands. Xian Kengzin relaxed. Now, she only hoped that her new sister-in-law would be able to marry into the family sooner so she could have a friend. Xian Kengzin questioned once more, Can she help take care of family matters? Zhongyuan was uncertain. Most likely, but they probably won't need to. When the prince marries Princess Consort Jianan, the princess consort will be the one taking care of things. The household won't ever be their responsibility. Xianyu was still the most concerned about when Zhongyuan could return to Jianan. Then when can you confirm a wedding date? Zhongyuan hesitated. This, probably won't be happening soon. Xian Kangxin furrowed her brows. Why? Zhongyuan laughed. They might not even be willing. Xian Rui was shocked. Someone of her age and stature, with someone like you asking for her hand in marriage, why would she be unwilling? What could she be displeased about? Were you too stingy with the bride price? There's no need for that. Though our estate has fallen from glory, we haven't reached the point of not being able to provide a good enough bride price. Don't be so careful about your spendings. It will make her family look down on you. It's unrelated to the bride price, Zhongyuan laughed bitterly. He flipped a page and casually said, they probably thinks I'm too short. The three of them all took sharp inhales. How could she be like that? Xian Kangxin couldn't help criticizing. She managed to grow so tall by herself. It's not like we are forcing. She thinks you're too short? Then what kind of person does she want to find? How many are out there that are taller than you? Not that I'm being strict, but with her stature, if she finds someone even taller, their children in the future are going to be giants. When their family walks out on the street, they'll be a whole head taller than everyone around them. That's too eye-catching. Xian Rui thought about it and said with worry, that won't do. According to her ideology, women can only find husbands taller than themselves. Then, your children will pass these genes on generation after generation. They'll get taller and taller, to the point of being abnormal. In the future, anyone from the Zhong family will easily be able to reach Tenchi. How attention-grabbing. Xianyu stated with horror, then wouldn't you be creating a new species of human? Right? Like the kind in the classics of mountains and seas. The really, really big ones. Qua qua. Xian Kangxin rolled her eyes at Xianyu, who couldn't remember his lessons. Quafu chases the sun. Xianyu slapped his leg. That's the one. Quafu. Could it be that she wants her grandsons to chase the sun? Xian Kangxin added, try to talk some sense into her. What good could come out of chasing the sun? Xian Rui furrowed his brows. We're discussing a joyous occasion. Don't say those unlucky things. Zhongyuan. Zhongyuan put down the classic of the great wilderness, East in his hands and exhaled deeply. What sins had caused such evil consequences? End chapter.